Let me just send him another text in case he forgot. Do we need agendas? You have one, right? I can print one if needed. I can say, so we got the Hopedale bill just came in. This was for some parts to do something. Oh, that was for the sanitary survey stuff at the park, fittings. That we needed because they wanted some sample port. And then the $15 is dig safe. And then the other one was I bought a freeze alarm for the new library, which we should have done like 3 years ago, but I think I'm gonna return it because it's crap.
Our apologies for being
No worries.
a little late.
We're not in session yet, signing bills.
Sir?
Although it is recording, so whenever you're ready.
I'll pass it in to you.
Dan, you don't have an extra pen.
There should be some in one of those cups. Oh, right here.
You grab one.
Here. And these are really nice mugs, by the way.
Yeah, they came
So
from,
I
the mugs came from Ken O'Brien.
That's, yeah, you know what, I ended up, we had a ton of parks and whatever, so I figured we would just chat tonight. It wasn't critical.
Oh, those mugs came from Ken O'Brien when he was
Yeah.
selectman.
But they're nice. There were a few extras I found when we were cleaning out, so I took one home.
That contractor, you know, I know they give you the best price for the meter. Change out these. This is
But,
It's 5 of them.
okay. Alan, good to see you, brother. How you been?
it's funny because it looks
Hey,
like he's in
guys.
a tunnel.
Hey, I want you to know I didn't get a mug.
Neither did I.
You'll have,
Well,
although the 350th ones were nice, those green
There's
ones.
one left.
Is there?
I bought it, but I'll,
So, Alan, just so you know, that one is a combined one with Parks and Water. So Water's the first 50 and then Parks, because apparently now if it's mixed, they want one piece of paper. So they only do one check.
Okay.
I don't know, I don't ask. I do what I'm told.
Huh.
Actually, it makes a lot of sense, you know, so it's more obvious.
plan on getting married?
he didn't answer.
Yeah, Whitewater's for testing, huh? Right?
That one, yeah, I forget what that is. I think that's either related to this. It's, if you look on the back page, there's a sideways page,
Right.
and in the notes, it says what it is.
Hey, Jack, the nice thing about me going up for the second time
Yeah.
is I'm housebroken.
Sanitary survey.
I
You got a cold or something?
know the feeling.
Yeah, you could hear
You
your
want number
voice.
two?
I'm kind of liking it.
Again. Safe.
Excuse me.
All right.
Okay, getting there. Slowly but surely.
It is 7:07.
Okay. We're testing. Okay.
Alan, Jack wants to talk to us about the water study.
Well, something else actually, but
Oh, okay.
Or both.
I won't. Well, so let me. Uh-oh.
As I'm flying through these, I just want to make, there's no taxes on any of this stuff.
Nope.
Okay, good.
The only one, it was just the Amazon. We have a town account that's got a tax exempt,
Right, yeah.
and then that was I was saying. So that was a freeze alarm for the new library, but I think I'm gonna actually return it and get a different one because it doesn't seem to work right. But
Yeah.
that was one of DEP's suggestions. Since it's in that weird room.
He's going to,
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, Dan, you got a copy of an agenda for me, or?
I
My
can.
bad.
See, I
I can
knew.
look on with Kev.
No, I'll print one. Give me 2 seconds.
Oh,
You don't sound good. Jesus Christ, stay away from me.
I'm glad I'm here.
I know.
You could have zoomed in, then.
We got our superintendent just recovering. I got this guy next to me.
You're doomed.
I just had a horrible over the weekend. I was dying.
no, I was cleaning up wood before I came here,
That's-
and all the pollen's out
Yeah.
in this weather.
Yeah,
Thank
so,
you,
yeah, now, as soon as
sir.
it warms up, everything's gonna sprout.
Did you send this to us?
Yep.
Okay. Crazy, crazy busy, but like all of us, right?
Sometimes, well, sometimes I
Ready
don't
for my
send the
annual meeting.
agenda in an email. I should probably do that.
Okay. All right, so we officially call this to order, obviously, because we started signing these, right? You guys called to order probably.
We
first
st-
down.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
So Jack wanted to just go over something that came up.
Go ahead, Jack.
Okay,
Hey,
you got the
guys.
floor.
So I thought first I should talk to you about an update on the water study.
Okay.
I thought the presentation went over very well in front of the selectmen. I was very pleased. I wish they were a little smoother, but that's just my personal opinion. And I thought they understood it and they received it and they weren't jumping out of their seats. So, that's all you can ask for at this stage. Where we're at now is they are putting together a scope for what we're calling phase 2 and 2A. And essentially that phase is going to be where they're going to be drilling, doing soil samples, getting more estimates on the harder estimates on what this system could look like. It may get a little tricky because, as you know, 2 of the 3 sites are private property. So who knows how that will go. If they let us on, we sign waivers. It could go easily. If not, we'll have to go to Plan B, and there is no Plan B.
Where the properties are, Jack?
Yeah,
I mean,
Dan will know better than me.
let me open the study again.
Yeah, I can't remember the names of them. They're on Providence Road,
Give me a
both
second.
of them, on the way out of town. One of them is almost at the border.
I do seem to recall, not that it's maybe the best political approach, but I seem to think that the town does have some power to do that sort of testing, not necessarily with consent,
Yeah, they do.
but
But
that might-
that's really not the way we want to go.
Okay.
No, you want to,
So the scope, has the scope been approved or it's just being written and then it will be reviewed?
Written, and then I'll send it to you. I haven't seen it.
And then the select board will decide whether to go ahead with that.
Correct. But I want your advice before then.
Okay.
I just want to back up. So I want to talk about, if it's okay, the presentation before the Board of Selectmen. Did they ask a lot of questions? I'm just wondering. you know.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Yep. They didn't ask as many financial questions as I thought. They
Okay,
talked about, the different options. One option, a couple options off of the town wells behind the DPW, which is maybe not the best site from an aquifer standpoint, but
it's not.
we own it and it's more central. They were going with one option right to Cape Road. And there was a big discussion about, no, we should get to 16 as quickly as possible. And then there was a whole discussion that, well, we got to capture that revenue that is right there waiting for us on Cape Road to offset the cost as soon as possible. So stuff like that. We talked about the location.
Which, by the way, Jack, is going up 25%.
I know, Dan told me yesterday. I was floored.
I'm not.
Floored.
To me, that's their reaction to this study.
no, townwide, Hopedale, everybody's going up 25%.
All right,
every
well, it's
tier.
not.
I mean,
but they're having problems.
that's a lot of money though, holy,
All right.
Wow.
wow.
Well, in any event, did they lean towards sewer or just water or both?
Well, that's a great question, Kevin. There was discussion about sewer, and sewer is very, very expensive. And there's the notion that maybe we could send it to Hopedale and have them go through their treatment plant and back to us, that kind of stuff. There was back and forth about whether we should include sewer in phase 2.
Yep.
But what they've decided, the selectmen decided this, is to spend a little bit of the money that the town has, ARPA money,
Yep.
and add that on to the phase 2 study for them to play out the sewer a little more.
Okay.
So, the cost benefit on their initial estimates are pretty astronomical well, they are for everything, but for sewer, they were more than I could stomach.
They were what I expected.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So I just wanted to give you an update. As soon as I get it, you'll get it. And then,
Okay.
I'll get on the select board to get them running. They're starting to work already on it. But, so we're pleased about that. We also
If I could interrupt you, Jack, you're going to send that to us when you get it and you want us to comment on it.
correct.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Jack, before you sign off, so phase 2, the
I'm
right?
not done.
Okay. So phase 2, you said they're putting together the scope for well drilling or test well drilling and stuff like that. So how many locations are we talking? 4 or 5?
Great. Well, four. Three
So-
locations, but two.
3 locations, okay.
Yeah, but there's 2 locations within one property,
I got you. Okay.
so it's 4 technically.
Okay.
And
How many, of the 4, you said 2 of them on the same property, but so is it all private property? Oh, no, you said one of them's over here behind.
one's ours.
And the other two are
Yeah,
private.
And the other 2, okay. 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 Okay.
So I don't want to, I need to do a deeper dive into, it's kind of vague in their report. It looks like one of them is the Varney land, is somewhere in that vicinity, like off
That's-
Teresa Drive.
Okay.
This other parcel down here, they identified a tiny little parcel, but I think they're really referring, there's a much bigger parcel behind it it actually looks like Peter Denton's land.
I wouldn't be
Off of
surprised.
Thayer, but it's technically way down. It's that area that Milford looked at, I think,
It's Peter Denton. It's,
off of Colonial and all
yeah,
that,
it's Denton land.
So it's near the Charles River?
near whatever this is,
No.
Mill River.
No, Mill River.
Okay.
That's the Denton property.
And then
That's,
the other
that's,
one-
Excuse me, Dan, whose property was it?
Well, it's Denton, but the parcel number they put in the study is not Denton. It's a tiny little house lot, so I don't know if they just
it's,
put a
it's
pin on the
near that
map,
area.
but it's, yeah.
But Denton is where the Milford Water Company drilled in the,
And I believe that was the prime site from their desktop research.
they just, Milford Water Company at the time just didn't want to spend the money developing it. Plus, I think the property owners wanted quite a bit of money for the land.
Yeah.
And the third is the Paddock property, where we're looking, and we have all that backland. So
Yeah.
they're looking at the housing in the front.
So when is the scope of service supposed to be done so they can,
I thought it'd be done already. I was hoping it would be done by the end of March.
okay,
Um,
so
One of
obviously,
one of the issues, and it's neither here, well, maybe it is here nor there. They wanted me to use RDPW to do some of the clearing that had to be done to get to the sites and to actually bring their backhoe and help with the borings as well. But I was told not to do that.
I
What?
wouldn't do it either.
why?
So nothing against them.
There's only
They
two
don't have
guys.
the manpower, the training, the
There's only
equipment.
two people
They're
right
full
now.
out just trying to keep
Oh,
up. They have
okay.
one guy that is the equipment operator.
Oh, I
That's
get
what
it.
I was told,
So you
That's
basically,
what
you
I-
tie them up for a whole
The
week.
director's been out sick for a couple of months,
and that too.
Leave. They just
and
don't
that
have.
was two people.
So you're gonna outsource, you're gonna be paying the prevailing rate.
That's right.
Right, so you're gonna be
Not
paying,
if you get the right people.
Kev.
Well,
I know my neighbor would probably do it at regular rates.
I don't think we can.
You gotta pay the prevailing rate.
Yeah, you have to.
This has
Whether
to,
they,
Kev,
I never heard of them not
Kev,
wanting.
Kev knows that too.
He could, he
knows
could
that.
propose it at prevailing rate and then bill you at regular rate
Yeah, maybe, yeah,
as a donation.
yeah,
He's a town resident.
yeah.
Well, his
So-
business is a town residency.
That kind of delayed, they're rethinking that a little bit, but it's still, I should have had it by now. I made a
Well-
note to myself, I'm gonna bug them tomorrow.
Well, I'll also just look at it and say, if they're not in a hurry to write it, they obviously have more business than they can handle.
Well, I don't like that, to be honest.
Well, I'll just tell you, when I was in the consulting business, if you told me to go ahead with the next proposal, I'd say, when do you want it? And if you said a week, you'd have it in 4 days.
Right.
But I also worked on commission.
I had a water commissioner, he was a friend of mine is a water commissioner, and he said, I want every consultant or engineer to treat me like I'm their only client.
Exactly.
And this is the first time this has happened. I will contact them tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But that's where we're at with that. The real reason I asked Dan to get on the agenda was, as you know, I've been working with Blue Water on 23 Cape, and they're in front of the planning board, and you know that they have an agreement with Hopedale to get them fire protection.
Yes.
But we had a meeting with Mass DOT a couple months ago now, and Mass DOT and all the traffic analysis we're doing really wants another lane or clearance for another lane going, I guess it's southbound. Is that southbound, Dan?
Towards
On-
Bellingham,
yeah.
Yes,
Think
from
so.
Cape Road.
from the traffic light to the location.
Right, and the, no, not from the traffic light, just the corner, so trucks, right now, trucks, there's only one lane. And the trucks are making this big U-turn, to get into that one lane.
Jack, I live right there.
So you know,
I watched it this morning when a truck coming up Hartford Avenue from Bellingham tried to turn onto 140 towards Hopedale and encountered an Amazon truck sitting in the truck turn lane. And basically, with cars behind it at morning rush hour, and basically they were at a standstill for about 5 minutes.
Until somebody backs in.
and so think of that, so we also have, I don't know how many square feet is this Amazon facility in Hopedale coming in, and
It's
now
not
we have,
Amazon.
ours is 210,000, it might be less by the end of the day.
It's not Amazon, Jack.
Oh, okay.
Amazon
whomever.
stopped all warehousing.
All right. And we don't own that that lot, and neither does Blue Water. So the discussion came around, and as you know, Hopedale has put in your contract that they will not service any commercial outlets to those parcels that previously or currently have residential houses on it. Even though,
Well,
I am
can I ask, what part of the land are they looking to add the lane? On what road?
both Cape and Hartford East. So that
Okay,
a truck
where in
can
Hartford, where in Hartford East? At the vacant lot or at the Pop and Cork?
make,
The vacant lot.
Well, that's real easy. You
I'm
take,
all in.
Just take
We
it
don't
away.
it's
know.
real simple. The guy that bought it didn't know he had no water and sewer. He's been trying to dump it for 2 years.
That's where I'm going, Kevin. You're one step ahead of me as always.
So it should be really easy to take it by eminent domain.
Well, I wasn't going there. That's a nightmare, probably. I'd
Or
like
he'll
to
buy
do
it.
it. So anyway,
They gotta pay
they've
them up.
approached this fella who, Nick is his name, about purchasing, I think they need 900 square feet
Yep.
to make it happen. And he has no issue with that, but he has an issue that, A, they will not service any commercial venture. B, that the zoning there doesn't allow residential. So he can't do a thing.
Which guy?
The guy on the corner,
Lot,
the vacant
143
lot.
Hartford Ave East.
Wait, the guy with the vacant land.
Dick, the problem is when they tore down Dick Skinner's house, it was a non-conforming house, and now you
Right,
can't
okay,
rebuild it.
okay. Putting that one aside for a minute, and then they want it on 140 where?
140, what are we talking about?
I think it's a turn lane, but it's
Right,
more,
Lane, yeah.
they're all
Right.
connected. There's an opportunity that's come up, I guess.
Okay,
What
so-
he's trying to get at.
So the guy doesn't want to sell the land?
He wants the 900 square feet, but he wants water,
We can't give it to him.
and that's a problem. So,
Then you take it by eminent domain.
well, I have another idea with and I'm asking for your permission eventually, is, the contract you have is from 2005. I've been told that through Tim, that if we came in with a complete overhaul of the contract to update it and included language for those lots that they are now restricting, that they will now allow commercial hookups, but the gallons per day will never exceed the previous use on the property. Do you follow me? So therefore, they can't complain about any capacity issues. And
So
we
in
would deed restrict that.
Okay, so they tore down 2 houses on that corner.
3, actually, I think.
2.
And
Two.
one was fairly big
Third
and
one's a
one
different
was
lot.
a normal size.
Right, they tore down the Skinner house, which fronted on 140, and they tore down the guy who now runs the gas oil tank business next to the Skinner house. They tore down his house in foreclosure. So if you got a business in there that didn't exceed those 2 houses' usage,
Yep,
that's what they want to propose.
that's correct.
But
And
just,
we would deed restrict it.
but just for that site, not for all the rest of the business sites.
Well, I don't know how many, and this is what I'm unclear on, Dan, and you guys. How many did they restrict?
All of them.
All of them.
This is the exact same proposal that you had made a few years ago.
All of them.
The difference this time around,
Every house that sits on 140 in a commercial zone,
no,
And
yeah, no
How many parcels would you guesstimate that in?
10 to 15.
more.
That many?
More than that.
Every
More
single
than that.
parcel on Route 140 in Hartford Ave East.
It's any house hooked up to the water system that is currently zoned for business or could be zoned for business. Right now on my side, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. From Barrows Road to the light is 8 to, oh
48.
no, more, 9.
48 lots.
48 lots.
48? I thought we were talking 3 or 4.
Why don't we just offer them for that lot on the corner?
Well, because I think there's at least 3 or 4 that this issue has come up with, and it sounds like because now people have things people want, Hopedale might be open to having this conversation that they rejected a few years ago.
Well, what do they want?
They want I think they want Blue Water's money for the tank, and Blue Water needs the turning radius.
Right.
Okay. Well, I
And-
know, I
And I
can
think
tell you
Hopedale
right
needs the
now,
water customers.
there are 3 houses together near me
Hmm.
that are ready to jointly sell their property to get a business in there.
Yeah. So, now we're talking, I'm putting my economic development hat on.
Yep.
And I don't, here's where I think we all need some help, is how far do we push this? I need that corner right now.
I
but
would
I
put,
gotta think bigger
Okay.
than that too.
I would push it only for the houses from Barrows Road back to Hartford Avenue on my side, and from Bates back to Hartford Avenue on the other. You're down to about 12 houses now.
Oh,
That's
let me
reasonable.
look.
And the point, Kevin, and you guys, is that if we put a deed restriction not to exceed a residential use, they
Yep.
can't complain about capacity.
That's correct.
So what are they gonna complain about? They can't hold the town hostage for economic development
Okay.
under those purposes.
Well, at a minimum, we want those 2 lots.
Yep.
Okay, the maximum, we'd want what I just said, from Bates to Hartford Avenue on that side, and from Barrows to Hartford Avenue on the other side.
They've got that 35 Cape. They had the same issue over there, that
Well,
mess.
Right, but you're talking, given the church and everything on the other,
Most of it's already locked down.
you're talking 35 in the flower guy and the house behind
Yeah, that's
the
2.
greenhouse. Oh,
1, 2, yeah, so 1, 2, 3, that's 4.
no, 3.
Oh, well, there's 2 houses there, 7, 9.
Okay,
House,
so
but yeah.
four on that
That's nothing.
side, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip to power 5, maybe
1, 2,
10 on my
3,
side.
4, 5.
And then the 2 on
6.
Hartford East.
and then those 2.
Yeah.
However, the
Oh, yeah.
next guy down on Hartford has been wanting water to build something there forever.
Well, he's in front of the planning board right now for a convenience store gas station.
The thing is, he has room for a well.
And he bought property in the back and he claims he has room for a well.
Well,
We
we'll
have not
skip him then.
approved him.
But 159 also has interested in developing the Wozniak.
Screw
And
him.
That's in law, yeah, but
Sorry, the lot.
Hey,
no.
I got a call from him today. He's got a buyer. He's selling. He's retiring, he told me. I've never met the guy.
they've been trying to sell and they have this, that's another one of those properties that's in limbo because is it commercial, is it residential? Can you tear that down and who
It
knows?
is commercial now.
But I don't know.
Well, he has an
Because
apartment.
it's a home business occupation.
It's
He
not
has
a-
a pool, he has a pool company
between
that
the
wants to
boilers
go there.
of the state.
But they
Right.
want to keep the
That's very
residential
honest
unit.
business, and that's not a home business.
You can't.
Yeah. I just don't know what the contract says and
You
what
got,
Hopedale
come
would
on,
say.
Jack, you know zoning, you gotta pick and choose.
Maybe.
If I put a commercial use in my property, it cannot go back to residential.
No, it can't, but there's residential there now. There's an apartment there right now in Wozniak's.
No, it's all zoned commercial.
It's zoned
Yeah.
commercial now, and when the previous owner sold it to him, that I know them personally, they sold, the Beauchamps sold it to him for his business.
Well, he has an
Somebody's
existing
leaving,
apartment.
Sure.
So as far as zoning, as long as that's not vacant for 2 years, he's still grandfathered. That's an easy one for
Not if
me.
he sells,
Yeah, even if he sells it, absolutely. Grandfathering is blind to buy who buys it. Yes. Now,
well,
maybe
Okay.
there's other issues.
but you
with
know
it.
what? He's already got a well.
Yeah, he didn't ask for water. He didn't ask for anything. He just wanted to know about zoning.
Will,
I s-
Well, so I have talked to people previous there. There's some great, I don't know what would happen if you wanted to put a new business there. Would Hopedale come back and say, I mean, but you're saying it was sold for, it was always meant to be a business.
Yeah, he's using the existing house.
Yeah.
Beauchamps lived there. They wanted to get away because of the age of the house and the traffic. They're now the caretakers for one of the trustee of reservation
Yeah.
property in Uxbridge.
I mean, okay, I know that.
They sold it to him for his business. He put up a business sign. He runs his office there. Yes, does he have somebody living in the back? Sure he does. But the primary use is business.
Absolutely, I'm not arguing.
But that also illustrates why this
Like
contract
real
is so
estate
messy. Because it's
A
not,
law legal office.
it's
I'm
so
sorry.
vague.
Yeah, he's a slip and fall lawyer. She'll watch when you talk to him.
So what's Hopedale gonna get in return? They're gonna get the connection fees?
We're not, so
You know, obviously-
apparently Connor talked to Tim. And Tim basically came back and said, why don't you try and propose this? And made it sound like they might be open to having this
Okay,
conversation.
so
with
wait a
us.
minute. Blue Wave has offered to build Hopedale a tower?
Blue Water, as part of that whole agreement we signed, is gonna pay Hopedale $200,000 towards a storage tank in privilege for getting a fire connection.
Well, my feeling is
That's between them.
at a minimum, they give us the two hookups that were on that corner lot with this deal, and in a maximum, they give us the rest of those boundaries.
I'm with you. So what I'd like to do, with your permission, is to ask town council to go over the contract with that in mind, but also to spruce it up where needed, because it's a pretty old document. And then come back to you with it and see if you're comfortable, and then traipse on over to the Hopedale Water Commissioners.
Well, they have to be comfortable.
Yeah, well, I think you have to be first, otherwise.
Well, normally they just say no.
Yeah,
Right.
but they got two new commissioners. I don't know any of them, by the way. And the
And
reason
Tim might very well be a selectman.
and I read that, Dan.
Can you still work for the town? Is it, they don't have the gene rule in Hopedale?
Nope.
Or is that an ethics thing?
No, that's a gene law.
I know that's.
So
amended.
Jack, I don't know, what the hell is going on with Hopedale? You know, they go up 25% of the rates, and we'll get into that because that's later on the agenda, but, you know, so now they're possibly open to allowing additional
I
connections
wonder
here
on
in
some level,
Mendon,
because they
and
need
I'd
to
like
want to
find
sell
out-
more water.
No, multiple,
Continuing the same connections.
okay.
Yeah, it'd be the same connection.
I think perhaps on some level, I mean, Tim was supportive the last time too. It was the board that shut it down.
Well, let me give you the example,
So-
okay? I've been trying to sell my property, which is big enough for a fast food restaurant,
Right.
okay? If I were to sell that to Food Chain X
They lose the water.
tomorrow,
Yeah.
under this deal, they couldn't use any more water than I use now.
Okay, so the agreement is keep the,
Well, it'd be your
existing
Title V,
connections in
it'd be your
place.
Title V,
okay.
estimate. I think it makes sense. I think it gets rid of some of their arguments. Now, there's always politics that I'm not aware of.
I like the idea, and if you came up with it, I think it's fantastic.
I do too. I do too.
And my own personal view is let's go and see what we get.
Yeah.
Well, if I got your permission, I'll
Yeah, 'cause
contact town
Mendon,
council.
Mendon got, we're just getting stick to the agreement
Well,
anyway.
if you want
Oh,
our
yeah.
opinion,
Oh, it's awful.
I'll make a motion that we support you,
Yeah,
doing it under the parameters we just discussed.
yeah, draft it up.
That's unanimous.
Unanimous.
Okay,
I will
Now-
I gotta send you the contract, I think, still.
yeah, that would be helpful.
Hey, Jack, if you thought this up, God bless you.
Well, I thought the deed restriction and the Title V restriction.
I like it.
I just want to eliminate excuses, you know? And that we're handicapped here. It's craziness. This is not the first time it's gonna come up over and over and over again.
Well, I'll tell you right now, it's interesting. The people I mentioned, the three people include me. And that's 3 residences and 4 acres with 300 feet of frontage.
Yeah, so Kevin, obviously, if we include your property, you're gonna have to abstain.
I abstain on the water board vote, but I do not abstain at the town meeting vote if there has to be an
Correct.
endorsement. Yeah,
Right.
I don't have a problem with that if it
The
affects
town
me.
meeting doesn't have to endorse a contract.
No, but
Well-
I am going to town meeting in the fall to expand the zoning on my side of the street like they did the opposite side,
Oh, okay.
just
We
so
should
you
talk
know.
about- That's another story we should talk about. All right,
There is one thing to be aware of, and that's when you're saying as much water as they used to use, how do you measure that? Presumably you go through.
He just
a
said
bunch
by
of
the
old-
Title V limits.
it'd be Title V, 110.
Title V limits. So you're
110
limited by the
gallons
number of
per
bedrooms.
bedroom. Right,
What is it, 550 a bedroom?
110.
110 per bedroom.
110 gallons a day per bedroom?
So you're talking about.
With a minimum of 330, so even if you had a 2-bedroom or a 1-bedroom, it's still 330.
Yeah, so I'm 330.
I mean, I don't know what they'd be, I think you'd have to come up with a baseline for the average residential house is 330, 440, some number that's acceptable to Hopedale.
Yeah, because
If
otherwise
you
we're
take
arguing
Title
about
V
what used to be there. That's a good point, Dan.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
you go by the assessor's number of bedrooms.
The other, the
From the
alternative
previous
is go by
use.
old water
Well,
bills.
well,
and
actually,
that's-
no, you got,
Yeah.
we're all septic
Title
here.
V is usually
You
an
just get the
overestimate
septic plans
by a
and
lot.
read it right off the septic.
They'll have Title V right on it.
Yeah, I mean, every house has septic, so you got a Title V restriction on every deed. I mean, on the
That's an-
septic.
You know, that's an interesting comment because that means that vacant lot on the corner has a septic
Well,
probably still there.
Right, but if you go to Skinner had like 4 or 5 bedrooms, but all you gotta do is look up the septic plans for the houses involved. They contain the maximum flow. Somewhere on that, there should be a chart with the DEP numbers.
Yeah.
And you give it to Hopedale.
All right, let me start working on this.
yeah, I got it
But
right here.
Probably your June or July meeting. I don't know if you meet in July, but
40.
Okay, but that's the easiest way to verify it. And, you know, if the house is torn down, you look at what was there for the houses that exist. Like I have 3 bedrooms. I'm 330.
you're 330.
Well, actually, I have my plan at home. I can go look at it and tell you.
Here, I think I have it
But I
right
mean,
here.
that's a legitimate way for Hopedale to say you're not making this up. You've got the approved septic plan,
You are
assuming one
Actually-
exists.
I'm gonna say.
444.
Some of those houses are so old,
444.
the plan
I am-
probably doesn't exist.
Because they oversize them. So your design flow is 330. Your actual system is
I
440.
bet you they're gonna wanna go with Title V.
That's-
only
yeah.
'cause
Yeah, so you're right.
It'll be more conservative.
110 per bedroom, right
We
there?
go with Title V to be conservative, but all you got to do is go to the Board of Health office when you decide on how many properties and you pull their septic plans, which are all on PDF now, and you give them to Hopedale as the guideline.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I thought you might like this. Keep our fingers crossed. And
Can't
we'll
hurt
go
to
from
try. And you know what? I never thought of that. So
Yeah.
you looked at it from a different angle, so I give you credit.
there. Trying to work something.
And I want the damn warehouse. I want that tax revenue.
I hear you. We're close on that. We're close.
Yeah, well, I keep
Yeah.
having screaming fights with the neighbors, so
Oh, yeah.
they do not like the fact that I'm an outspoken advocate in favor of it.
And they don't, yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Yeah, well, what I tell them is that land was zoned commercial long before you built your house.
A long time I'm talking.
And Route 140 and Route 16 were designated our commercial corridors in 1960s. So I don't want to hear it like, why is it coming down to our end of town? It's, you mean you bought a house in a business zone and didn't realize it?
All right. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
your
Jack.
time.
Jack, thank
I'll
you.
see you guys soon.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right.
Good. All right, that was a good topic.
Okay, can we get to the
All right.
the bigger news of the night,
The rates, right?
which is what day did the rate effect take effect?
Well, so that, you know, nice of them to send us any sort of like notice or anything. We literally just got the bill and
Well,
said,
we thought it
here's
was
your bill
coming,
with
we
the new
thought it was
rates.
coming in July, didn't we?
That's what they've done in the past is usually he sends an email, says, hey, this is coming.
Yeah, next quarter or something like that.
This time, yeah.
So when did it take effect?
It's in that bill we just paid.
So I just,
No, what date?
Whatever date that, I have no idea, whatever date to
Well-
apply to this entire quarter.
Well, much as I hate 2 meetings in a row,
Right.
like a water board followed by town meeting in May, I think we need to have is it too soon to have a rate hike hearing on May 4th?
Well, I will, so just a general update, I just plugged in the new numbers, so the current number to date for the enterprise fund.
can't do it tonight, you gotta put notice.
Oh yeah, we gotta do a whole, well, schedule it though, but.
Right. Yeah.
So we're at negative $2,000 for the, which is, and we still have another bill
I'm
quarter to
talking about
go.
it.
So and this was the fourth Hopedale bill, so we're golden. We're gonna close at probably 20,000 in the positive.
Okay, but we
Which is back
have
where we
no,
wanted to be.
we have no choice but to raise our rates by this.
It's, we have to pass some or all of it on, right? Or we're gonna
They're
be operating at a
retroactive.
loss.
Yeah,
Well, so it'd be starting, I mean, I was gonna read the meters. We gotta read them this month, so we're not gonna be able to change it in time for this billing cycle. We've
yeah, you
gotta
gotta put notice.
put the bills out,
Yeah,
so
but-
we're gonna have to change our rate effective July 1.
Okay, but if we don't change to July 1, won't we lose money?
Theoretically, we'll lose money, but we're gonna close at enough of a profit that we're not gonna lose money.
Yeah, you gotta eat up your retained earnings because they
And
didn't, because the
did
jackass didn't
Hopedale raise
notify
the
us.
rates? Is that
25%.
25%?
Yeah, well, what's the soonest we can have a hearing?
So I think,
Mid-May?
let me just verify what's in here, because I think we changed this to 2 weeks. Give me a minute.
About 2 weeks from now. Or you guys can't do it.
Well, more than we gotta, it takes a week to get it in the paper,
Yeah.
but
What paper?
I gotta see what our regulations say.
What paper?
Well, the Milford, wherever where this shit goes, the legal ads, Milford,
And they just,
It's gotta go to the Milford paper
Hang
a
on.
week in advance, like I think
We have our
by
own,
Thursday before in order for them.
a
to
notice
advertise.
mailed to all water customers, either separately or within the bills with a minimum, with 14 days notice.
Yeah,
That's right. We took the requirement to advertise out because we figured we just mail it to the
Put it in the bill.
customers.
Right.
all right, so the
So-
earliest we could have one is probably the week of May.
I mean, my suggestion would be to do it. I mean, at this point, we might as well just do it with the next water meeting on May 4th.
Okay.
Can we notify everybody?
Well, because I got to read the meters and put the bill's got to get mailed the next week or two anyway. So as long as the
All right,
bills are
let's
in the
do it
mail by
May-
the 20th.
May
Yeah, you
4th.
sure you don't have to put it in the paper?
So according to our own, I don't know if there's some overarching state rule well, we amended our regulations and just said that notice to all of our customers, put a copy on the website.
It's cheaper to
Post the
just
meeting.
notify them than take
No,
a
I know,
minute.
in the water bill.
Because it just,
Want to make sure that we're not missing out on any legal requirements.
yeah, no, we changed that because we figured for 150 people.
And if we have to wait for the paper, the deadline for them is the last week of the month for this
Yeah.
monthly thing,
Right, yeah.
and they might not come out till mid-May.
Well, the Wicked Local, whoever I send all our legal ads to, I think you get to go by Wednesday and it goes out the next week. So even if it's the Boston paper, that's where all the planning board stuff goes.
Yeah, but either they did away with that, or they're doing away with it this year.
Yeah,
Well,
that'll be a problem.
Requirement to place legal ads, like we used to have one for the tax hearing every year.
Yeah,
That's gone away for the last 4 years.
okay.
But there's a requirement going through the state legislature right now that if you don't have a local newspaper printed in your town, the web is good enough.
That would be amazing. I don't know why there's not just like a free state repository for legal notices and call it a day.
Nobody reads the paper anymore anyways.
You know, unfortunately, right, it's changed so much.
News on the phone. So,
So you want to do it May 4th? And
Yeah.
I would put
Just-
in it that it's 25% rate hike imposed by Hopedale,
Yes.
and we have to raise our rates so as not to go in a deficit.
And
Let them know it's Hopedale
How long
doing
was
it,
it we
not
raised
us.
them? Like 6 months ago? This was that long ago.
So all I know, and unfortunately, and like to Jack's point about the contract, all it says in the contract is they're required to, says Hopedale will notify the town of Mendon by mail of any rate changes, which I suppose technically by sending us a bill with new rates, they did such a thing.
That's so bogus. So,
You know what? I would challenge that.
you know,
I mean, we could,
I wouldn't do it to the point saying you didn't do it right. What I would say is, you guys make us stick to the contract. The contract said we should have got a written notice from you, and we didn't.
so Dan, did you converse with them over there at all and say, hey? why-
Dan, I was reading her email, Dan, attached are the newest quarterly bills, the new rates are included in these bills. That's all we got.
Yeah.
Well,
that-
that is a written notice.
So,
That's a steep hike. I'm just wondering, I'm wondering if there's things that are going on in their system, like is their unaccounted for water gone up where they're pumping more water out of the ground?
I don't know
Yet
what
their
I,
revenues are down, so they,
All
they got
I've heard
leaks
is
that-
they have a
and they're
shortage.
trying to make up
what
on
I
it.
can tell you is,
Throwing
there was a
Mendon?
post on Facebook months ago asking for people to look for water leaks in Hopedale because they
Yeah.
had high usage.
Okay. They got high unaccounted for water. going
Tim
on there.
reached out to me to ask me about Mendon's use, and I sent him a bunch of numbers, and we actually found a mistake in our reports, so that was good, but.
But ours are all metered anyways, right there, and we just, you look at what.
Right, I mean,
built for,
we certainly
and it
do
should
have some
It
loss.
should match up, yeah.
But we did a leak detection in October, and it
Yeah.
came back clean. We're way back, we're within normal ranges. I mean, these bills are normal usage. It's not through the roof like it was.
Sure,
We probably should do another leak detection at some point.
yeah,
And
at least
you know.
once a year, yeah.
So we just did it in October, so maybe we'll see how things are going. So the issue is not in Mendon. I have not dug into their like financials or
They
read
got
any of their
problems
stuff.
over there, and we're paying a price, that's what's
Well,
happening.
no, they upped all the Hopedale 25% too.
Well, yeah, I think the reason, though,
Right.
Kev, is that they're losing water over there. You know, the billing's the same, but they're
But the
pumping more water.
contract says they charge us.
I know, I get it.
And
Yeah.
actually, so I just
But it's such a
remembered
steep hike.
one more.
They
He
got
did
something going on
email
there.
me. He asked me about enforcing the drought regulations, and he wanted a list of customers on Talbot with irrigation wells, which I got to get to him.
Yeah.
So
And
I
we
think
talked
they
about-
was concerned about those regulations
We talked
impacting
about
his.
putting up the signs that are all
Right.
over Hopedale right
Oh,
now.
my God, we gotta get off this system.
So,
Yeah, I know we gotta get it
Oh,
wrong.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, because 25% it's going to put our top tier at 1437.
Now you know why my house is for sale.
Um,
It's not posted, but it is.
Yeah.
And we just bought a house in Connecticut.
Oh, you did? Wow,
Yeah.
congratulations.
so I don't know.
Oh, we're getting screwed.
Finally.
Go away.
So, how long are you gonna stay on board?
Turn that
Till I
off.
lose count.
all we had was little wall. You said Hopedale is threatening to put up a water tank?
They are gonna put up a water tank.
Good.
Yeah, good, they'll have more storage.
He's some sort of a storage tank. I don't know much more than that, and it might have had to do with PFAS.
You know the whole story about why they don't have a storage tank.
What has to do with the Route 16 thing, right?
No. When Pinecrest, the giant subdivision off Westcott Road,
Okay.
got built in the 80s. Yeah. Was it 300 homes, 400 homes? Part of the approval was on one of the streets, the highest point on the road, I think it was Moore Road, they were going to build a storage tank. The developer, who happens to be WGB, who grew up in Hopedale, Craig Burrell, and after a time period, he came back to the planning board, not the water commissioners, and said, gee, you're not having any water problems up there. How about if instead of building you the water tank, I spend the same amount of money and rebuild the downtown fire alarm system, which is broken? And somebody on the planning board said, I move, and they voted it. And then about 3 years later, the water commission said, hey, you never built our water tank. He goes, no, the planning board swapped it. So Hopedale put in a booster pumping system up there at like $500,000 to supply that subdivision.
Bless you.
And the tank never got built. because it was local boy here, talked to local boy there, and
Yeah.
And guess how much a tank would have cost?
I
About
have,
$500,000.
and I think he spent 150,000 on the fire alarm. The pull boxes.
Yeah.
And how many people use a pull box now on a pole in downtown?
But they're
Because
probably-
Draper's is closed.
They're gone now. I mean, I don't
Yeah, but
think,
Draper's is closed, and when Draper's was open and everybody walked to work, you had a pull box.
I think those have pretty much been, either they gotta make them cellular or they're,
No, a water tank would cost you more than 12, what did you say? $500,000?
It's about $500,000.
No way.
Today,
Yeah, no way.
8 million.
Well, how big of a tank are they gonna build? A 1 MGD?
I don't know, I don't
1 million?
remember, I just know the
1 million
story.
gallon, yeah. Don't
He
forget-
wasn't gonna build a gigantic one, he was gonna build,
Probably 500,000, but even so.
1980 money?
Yeah, prevailing wage is a huge thing too, you guys know that, but, yeah, I'm
No,
gonna
it
say.
wasn't prevailing wage, because he was going to build it.
Oh, he was gonna
The
build it, donate,
developer was
donate
going
it
to
to the
build it
town.
and give it
Oh,
to the
okay.
town.
Oh, that's different then, okay, I get you.
I mean, what prevailing wage is, go see my friend who's the head of the DPW in Northbridge. They put up a metal garage building. And I was over there talking to him last year, and he said, this is our new $6 million highway storage barn, not their main building. And he looked at me and goes, and Kev, if a private contractor built it for himself, it would have been 300,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the director over there, you know?
Who's what?
He's the director of public works over in Northbridge?
Jamie Lucchini,
Okay. Yeah, that guy.
who also runs the water.
Yeah, okay.
He's on the commission in Milford.
Yeah.
I just called him yesterday, congratulating him on his win.
Yeah, I knew the guy before him, he's retired now though.
He retired, he was Jamie's boss.
Yeah,
And then Jamie came in, and then they grew Jamie into his job.
Jamie, yeah, okay,
James Lucchini,
yeah.
who's a
I
riot.
met him, he's a good shot. All right,
Oh, he's a blast.
yeah.
You ever need anything done, by the way?
Yeah, he's the guy.
Well, let me put it this way. I think sometime this fall will be a Northbridge backhoe in my yard.
Oh, shit. All right.
Hate to know people. All right, we got anything else we got to go over?
Old business update on water sewer study, we already talked about that.
just look at the agenda.
Dudley Master Meter.
Dan's working on that.
Oh, yeah, well, so just to review while you're here, so we don't need to replace the valves, we don't need to replace the check valve,
No.
just swap the
No,
big valve and call it a meter and call it a
yeah,
day.
you know, and then the detail, you don't need a detail up there
That's what
either.
I'm- Well, I'll check with them if they may insist on it, but I don't think so
What
either.
road is it on?
Dudley Road. the
It's
corner.
really up to the cops.
Dudley
Yeah,
Road
well,
is,
I'm sure that, I'll check with the chief.
Dudley Road is us, and I'm sure the chief would say you don't need it.
Yeah.
There's no traffic on that road.
Well, unless,
Exactly, that's what I said too, Kev.
we can just get
You
some
know,
cones. and-
barricades.
Right.
Put some
Block
barricades
off
and
the
and a
lane.
sign, you know, put a sign, men working and,
Yeah,
You put a sign on the one end of, the
Road.
Westcott end, you put a sign on the blue end,
yeah.
and now you put a sign at the 40,
Yeah.
40B.
well, I'll see what,
But ultimately,
with
it's
the
up to the
chief.
cops. If the cops say you don't need a detail, you don't need a detail.
and then the other question is, and this might be a question for Tim, do we need a 2-inch testing port for meter testing in the pit?
It's
Say it
actually-
again?
It's actually a good idea.
Okay, a 2-inch testing port for meter testing in the pit, whatever that means.
So the meter should already have one.
Maybe it does.
They usually do.
Let's look.
Yeah, it's gonna be downstream of the meter or on the outlet side of the meter. They
Actually,
usually come with a test port.
Oh, this isn't helpful.
I saw an ad for a very interesting meter the other day. It had a low, all-in-one meter, a low flow part and a high flow part. It's one as a single meter.
Yeah, it's called a compound meter. Yeah.
Product.
Yeah, those new ones like, probably like the one that we just bought, the master meter. There's no moving parts in them now. You can look right through it. It's like a Venturi where they measure the velocity and it
Yeah.
gives you a calculation on how much water, the volume of water that goes through it. With the older ones, it's a nutating disc. They whip around and you had So with a high flow, there's a little check valve, or not a check valve, it's a flap valve. With a high flow, it diverts the water to go up to a different chamber within the meter.
Yeah,
Yeah, but those other ones, like the one we just bought for the master meter, those are getting more and more common. You're seeing those more and more in circulation.
High tech.
I know, yeah, it's unbelievable.
I'll have to email, what do you call it, Thai Sales. I have no idea if it has a test port on it.
So what meter did you buy? Did you buy the?
Whatever the one we spec'd out with you, that
You don't need a
8-inch
test port
ultrasonic.
on it. Yeah, you really don't.
All right, then I'll tell them not to bother.
Yeah, there's no moving parts in them. There's a battery to them.
Yeah, we had all the stuff.
The batteries are good anywhere between 15 and 20 years.
They told me to let them know they'll come back out, Thai Sales, and do all the tech stuff.
You just want to measure flange to flange, just make sure before they take anything apart, it's exact same dimensions, because once they start to pull it apart, if it doesn't fit right,
Right.
you gotta put it all back together again with the old meter. So you're just wasting time. You just gotta make sure everything measures out right. It's the most important thing. You do that, and it's only gonna take them,
It should be, well, not gonna, the only thing that
it's
stinks
gonna
about
take
this
them 20
job,
minutes in a pit.
well, they're gonna have to,
Bolt it, pull it up, put the new one in.
they're gonna have to play a pretty advanced game of Tetris to get the parts out, I think. That was the concern. Because
Yeah,
if that stem is really tall, everybody that's looked at it, I think it's doable, but
I
it's.
looked at it with you
pain.
though, I know what's involved here, it's not that bad.
Well, I don't know, that's what they all
They're
said.
gonna
to us.
make it out to be big, but whatever, you already got a price from them. But then
Well, I
you
mean,
probably
at this
gotta-
point, that's the best price we've got. We can't,
Yeah, yeah.
nobody else will do it. The other company wanted
I
almost
don't know,
12,000.
maybe realizes the other guys, maybe he's feeling like he left money on the table, so he's gonna try to zing us on other stuff. Bottom line is, you don't need the valves.
Yeah. Oh, I wish, this was just they were just checking on.
speaking of meters, have we heard any more from Hopedale about moving the meter over to Plain Street?
No, and I should ask him about that one too.
But that's all gonna be, that's all with Blue Water, right?
Well, so
Good
they're
spring with
planning
Blue
as
Water?
part of the decision, no, this is separate.
Okay.
The warehouse in Hopedale, as part of their planning board decision, they are going to extend the water main to the Mendon Town line on Plain Street and install a new meter pit.
Right,
That could be 5 years down the road.
yeah,
And so Tim had said, don't do anything with the Cape Road meter, just wait. But we've got the meter now, so that's fun, which is great.
Right.
You know, it's just an easy, and then ideally, if they're gonna, maybe they can put the thing in the ground and,
yeah. Well, the only drawback with that, if they're talking 5 years down the road,
right, it's the,
you know, the battery life is,
right, so
the battery
the
life over time with that.
kit we
That's what
bought,
sucks.
but
Yeah.
we'll have to just,
Yeah.
you know, even if we gotta swap out the battery part,
And you could do that, yes.
still,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, the meter,
So-
the body, it was the expensive
Yeah.
thing.
Yep,
Um,
agreed.
I mean, we can follow up again. You know, maybe it may be worth replacing the meter in the Cape Road pit.
Yeah.
And then when the new pit's done, swap it over.
Swap over, yeah.
That's probably something to reach out to them to find out what the actual timeline is on that. Because you're right, if it's gonna be 5 years,
Yeah.
it would be real nice to have this data.
Yeah, be able to collect it remotely, because
Yeah.
you're able to, with the technology, you won't
Yeah,
have
this
to-
is gonna be like a portal that we can log into
Right,
and you can, configure alerts and see everything.
Yeah, the only the disadvantage of putting a meter in over there, these are gonna be a lot more accurate than the old meters.
Right.
So, his meters wear over time, especially the old style, more slippage goes through them.
Yeah,
But I don't know, the way Hopedale bills us anyways. Come on.
I mean, there's definitely loss, so, I mean, I think it's just old pipes and,
Yeah. Yeah.
and unfortunately, at some point. we're
So have you
gonna
got a
have to do
schedule from,
something. That's where we left off.
Okay.
I asked her if they had a date for us. She says, we actually have some openings in the near future, just need to confirm some things.
okay,
So hopefully we can get this done,
all right. You gonna be with them when they do it?
probably. Well, I mean, we'll have to have Hopedale shut the water off. The hope is that they can just shut the water off at the valves.
Yeah, yeah.
But one of the guys made it sound like the valve had to come off too to make room, but who knows? I will say Hydrotech is very good with that fiddly stuff, so they may make it work.
Yeah, they're not gonna have to pull the valve off.
I mean-
No, I think it was, weren't they, I can't remember now, it was flange.
The
or-
problem was, it was that the valve and the valve stem are right under the opening, so it
yeah.
messed with your clearance.
Yeah, oh, okay. Okay.
Um,
All right, well, you can
but-
take the handle off.
But I'm pretty sure there's a valve in the street too, so,
Yeah, okay,
and that'll be a Hopedale.
right. Okay.
She had asked for that, if the valves are being replaced, are we able to get a shutdown? I mean, allegedly we should be able to backfeed the system. I'm not clear where the water main ends on the other side, but we'll find out
Wait.
for sure.
On which, Plain Street?
No,
And the
on
water's
Dudley
looped?
Road.
The water's looped?
In one version of things I've seen, it's looped. In
Okay.
another version of things I've seen, it ends at the last hydrant. There is a gate valve in the middle of the road on Westcott that looks like it should be the other side
Did
valve
anybody
for
check to see if
Dudley.
it's open or, well,
I would Hopedale, so I wouldn't touch it.
right, okay.
Hopedale says there's a valve, but until it's been
We
operated.
don't have an as-built plan for what's there?
No. I have a
Hopedale?
map with crayon and some markers on it.
I mean,
You must have a plan.
I've looked there and
No.
this is at the top of the hill, right? And
Over-
I couldn't find any sign of a valve.
Geez, that's
The
subdivision's not that
builders-
old.
We have a
The
lot of
builder
that
is
stuff.
living
Who's
on
that put in?
Dudley.
I called him actually, he didn't remember.
Daniel?
Yeah, when we were out with Ken with Whitewater, I did call him. This is the problem. There was this whole
It was
chunk
built
of
in the
time.
90s, right?
Yeah, but because Hopedale did everything, I don't think the Mendon board really asked any questions, and whether Hopedale has plans or not, we don't know.
Plans.
They just kind of said, oh yeah, hook it up.
Yeah, Hopedale monitored the construction of that.
I mean, allegedly everything they had from Mendon was given to us.
Eh,
Well, he gave me a whole bunch of tie cards and stuff we had never had before, so whether there's more on a shelf somewhere, I don't know. But-
Does the planning board have the map set for Dudley Road? It would have
I've
the
looked.
water listed in it.
I have it, I've looked, it doesn't have that much detail on it.
It's supposed to be a page with the water.
Yeah, here, let me show you what we got, if I even have it in this. I have the same problem with Edwards and Joseph, there's like such minimal
Do you know Eli
Dudley
Potty?
Road map. Yeah, here,
Potty?
Vin,
He used to be the superintendent
there's
there.
there's my map for Dudley Road.
Yeah.
It's very, very
That's
detailed.
it?
That's what's on file, and then
No.
I have the planning board thing somewhere, but it doesn't have any
The planning,
detail that you think it
planning
does.
board should have a page unless it went to Hopedale.
Yeah, the planning board must have plans that were submitted for site plan approval.
Right, but all they just say is water line.
Subdivision approval.
Well,
All they say, because Mendon didn't have water, they just say water line, and they didn't question it.
oh, man, no, because they would
Because
have.
Edwards is the same way,
There would have
just
been
as
some
water.
engineering specs or
Yeah.
some plans, site
We have
plans
none
that
of
would
it.
have
I
been
watched them
submitted.
put it in, but I
Yeah.
can't remember where it went.
There would have been something submitted to the planning board.
But anyway,
I mean, I lived around the corner back.
either way, it doesn't matter.
I was stealing rocks from all the blasting they did every weekend. I drive down with my riding mower in a cart, fill it up with all the broken
Also,
rock.
a little stone
Because I
wall.
built a rock wall along my back property line out of that subdivision. Oh, I was the only one doing it. You know how they had a
Hey, you
blast
probably
for to
were
make
helping
that
them because they
road?
had to dispose of the crap. They had to pay somebody to haul that away.
All right,
A little
anyways.
less of
Tanya
that.
used to say, take more.
Yeah.
Because I asked one day, you need this for cut and fill? He said, get rid of it.
So bottom line is, Dan, this could be done by the time we have our next meeting on May 4th.
I wouldn't hold your breath based on my dealings with Hydrotech, but it's on their radar.
Okay, good. That's good news.
I mean, I think,
All right.
it's the same thing he was saying about the study. We're dealing with this building with McClure. These engineers are just so overworked and overburdened. There's just so much work out there.
Nobody
They're
is
so behind.
going into these professions anymore for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what the young folk are going into, but it ain't where we need them.
Oh, I know, especially in town, we were talking about town government and.
Oh,
Yeah.
private engineering firms.
Yeah.
All I know is you can take a high school graduate, get him in an assessor's office as a house inspector where you teach him for the first year, and by 19, they'll be making 50 grand a year doing home inspections, and then you send them to the classes throughout the years. By the time they're 30, they'll be a head assessor somewhere making 100 grand, because the progression is that fast, right? Let me put it this way. I'm 69 years old, and I got a job offer today to go to Acton from the consultant who just retired from the South Shore, saying, I need somebody like you. They'll pay you up to 150 a year. Hey, last 5 years of the pension. I'm crazy not to go on the interview. I like Holliston. I don't want to go to Acton, but you're talking 60 grand more a year.
Yeah. Yeah,
Even if I do it for a year.
it's 3 years, right? Yeah,
I mean, this tells you the Schaefer when they want to hire a 69-year-old guy.
I know.
What's my
It's like that in
lifespan?
all these municipal, like, I guess the town accountants right now are in high demand too everywhere. Town managers even too.
Hollister's hired an accountant.
Oh, really? What
Do
do
you
we
want a
pay?
shorter commute?
We do. How much is pay?
It's like 90.
That's a pickup or, but peace of mind. She's about $1.10 right now.
See what?
She's about $1.10 in Needham.
But,
It's closer.
yeah, the
You're-
problem
you're
is,
closer. How long do you get there?
they only got 2 people that applied,
Really?
and one of them was so junior, they threw her out. And the other one, the last time
So
we
is
got.
90 the top? So so there's gotta be a range, right?
Yeah, but the other one, the last time we interviewed her, we were supposed to check her references because she didn't give any.
Yeah,
That was 3 weeks ago. I haven't heard a thing. So my guess is,
yeah, she's all done, yeah. I've been pushing Michelle because she loves it.
well, I'll have to find out if they're still looking,
She's
but.
bitching about the commute, but I gotta tell her.
I think that's
I'm
everything. If we
there
want
30
to
minutes every day.
adjourn.
Yeah, she's over an hour. She's over an hour to get out to
Well,
me.
Acton's going to be almost an hour.
Yeah.
Are you guys good, or how? Just,
What?
we can adjourn if you're.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
adjourned.
motion to
Record
adjourn.
that.
Second, done.
Good, done.
I got to go eat.